Wednesday, we get social with Sadler. Emma's back next week. She's on holiday. But we'd like to welcome to Fresh at 5, CEO of BrandsEye, JP Kloppers. Now, using algorithms and other important stuff like that, they were able to pretty much say this is the direction the Brexit vote would take. Even with our local government elections, they pretty much called it in terms of the big metros. So we'd like to welcome JP Kloppers back to Fresh at 5. JP, how are you doing?
Great, thanks, Fresh. Yeah, good on yourself.
You guys were pretty much accurate with the big metros for the local government elections.
Yeah, we came pretty close in SA. I think social media still got some way to go in terms of being representative of the population here, but it's definitely growing, which is encouraging for us.
Yes. Now, the U.S. elections are coming up next, and obviously you guys monitor all social media sentiment. How's that looking from you guys' point of view?
Look, I think it's depending on whose perspective you look from. If you're a human, it's looking good. I think in the US, what is both fascinating and disconcerting is how close it still is, despite the kind of gravity of what's happened, what we've seen going down with Donald Trump over the past week or so.
Yes.
It still remains surprisingly close. You'd think that, I saw that and I was like, okay, that's done. Our work here's finished. Let's move on. Let's find a new topic. And we almost anecdotally said, well, let's just keep an eye on it. And interestingly, like in a state like Florida, on social media, it's actually gotten closer, not further away, post the second debate.
So,
which is bizarre to me.
So are you saying that ordinarily, based on analyzing social media, the fact that Donald Trump, it's emerged, said it's okay to grope women, ordinarily the sentiment would have shifted on social media?
Well, you'd think that when a political leader says it's okay to grope women, that everybody says, I'm out, I'm done, I'm moving on. I don't care who the other candidate is.
Yes.
Give me, it doesn't matter who, just give me somebody else. But we don't see that, and that's the strange thing, we see the kinds of comments where people will say, we're not voting for a Sunday school teacher. And almost like saying, look, we want, and that it shows the desperation of where a lot of American people are at, saying we're tired of almost living in poverty, living in the 80% of people who don't have access to resources, who don't have access to wealth, and saying, like, we don't care that he is a disaster in his private life. Let's at least have somebody who's going to get something done. And that sentiment is still coming through, despite these kind of huge issues which are surfacing, which is surprising. Look, I think it's still far enough apart. Even in Florida, Clinton's still ahead. She's sitting at 59%. So even though it's gotten closer, she's still ahead in Florida, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania.
Sure.
And in the U.S., the elections are going to swing on a few states where, the battleground states, as they say. And she still has a good lead in all of those states.
Yes, sir. It's 20 minutes after 7. We're talking to CEO of BrandsEye, JP Kloppers, and they're looking at social media sentiment regarding the U.S. elections. Now, in the month of August, social media sentiment started in Clinton's favor, but then Trump overtook her by the end of August. Why did that happen?
She got sick, if you remember. She had pneumonia, I think it was, and so she just wasn't in the conversation. And I think that hurt her in some senses, in that the U.S. elections, it is very much a kind of front of mind thing. And so Trump just jumped on that, and he went hard on the road, and just got a lot more conversation, and we saw things moving in his favor. Then the next debate happened. She kind of came back into the spotlight, and she's just doing the basics well. She's not overly contentious. The issues with her emails and the Clinton Foundation and Benghazi, which obviously Trump tries to jump on all the time. But beyond that, he really doesn't have much more to go on.
Yeah.
And so while she's not getting more conversation, she is getting a lot more positive conversation towards her.
Sure.
And so the question which I'd have on social media at the moment is bad news good for Trump? Because he is getting a lot of publicity. And so the question does remain, does that kind of somehow gain him more favor in the American population than than if he hadn't have done it, because she's actually doing a better job.
Yes.
On social media.
Now, is it fair to say the elections have been the battle of the least liked as opposed to the most loved politician?
Definitely. I think it's really been, I don't know, for me, disappointing in humanity that people are. It's been a race. It's been a race to the bottom, you know,
yes,
in the U.S. elections, and that is sad. And we're kind of seeing it around the world. We're seeing it in SA where the fees must fall. We're seeing it in the UK with Brexit. We're seeing it in the US. But we're just saying, where are the kind of leaders who are going to stand up and lead, and not just this kind of constant criticism that happens, but actually people rallying together to fight for something that they want in common.
Yes.
So that has been, it's been the hallmark of this election, is this race to the bottom.
JP, in closing, the US will be electing a new president in under 4 weeks. Where is this election going?
Look, at the moment, from what we see, it's definitely going the Clinton way. There's still a month to go, and a lot can happen in a month. You know, with Brexit, things turned the week before. So I think it would be unwise to try and call it now. But if the trends which we're seeing now continue, then it looks like the next 4 years will be another Clinton 4 years.
Okay, so can we commit you to another analysis in about 3 weeks? And then have you put your head on the block and commit?
Then we'll do it, yeah. We'll go state by state.
Great stuff. Where do people find you, JP? Are you on social media?
BrandsEye.com.
BrandsEye.com.
BrandsEye. That's it. Thank you, Fish.
Great stuff. Thank you, JP Kloppers, CEO of BrandsEye.